Bellator MMA returns to Showtime tomorrow night. The main event features welterweights Gracie and Logan Storley. Gracie will have a 2-inch, check that, 1-inch height advantage, and will also walk into the Bellator cage as the favorite, minus 165, while Storley comes in as a plus 140 underdog. All right, preview Bellator 274. We have one half of Morning Combat. Brian Campbell joining us here. So if I'm asking you to break down this Gracie-Storley fight, what are you looking out for and who do you favor, bud?
Yeah, first of all, this is the first 5-round non-title main event in Bellator history. Can that play a factor? I think it ultimately will. This is grappling versus wrestling at its base. Gracie, the great grandson of Carlos Gracie, one of the two brothers who invented Brazilian Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And Gracie's kept that lineage going. He can submit you at any time. He's been at this title level before and lost, but has retooled and come back and is as dangerous as anyone, especially considering he's one finish away from setting a new all-time Bellator record. His opponent in this top 5 matchup is as accomplished a collegiate and amateur wrestler as you can find in Logan Storley, a 4-time All-American from Minnesota. He's from the same high school, the same college. And he did grind you into the ground as he did against the new champion Yaroslav Amosov in their split decision, which was one of the best fights in Bellator history. Since then, though, there's a bit of legitimate questions around Storley. He had a homecoming main event in his native South Dakota. He struggled to a split decision win. He's going to have to answer those questions, and you wonder, whose ground game will win out in the end? Will Logan Storley need to stand and trade out of fear of getting submitted? All of these factors bring into this matchup being very important for future title contention.
Amosov, the man with the strap at the moment, and the co-main Andre Koreshkov against Chance Rencounter. This was supposed to be a Muhammad Burkhamov fight there, who got injured. So we have maybe on paper a fight that's not as good. BC, what are you looking out for here?
I'm looking out to see if Spartan Koreshkov, the former champion, is right back to where he needs to be. He missed almost 2 years because of injury. He took a soft comeback in his native, but when he returned to the cage against Saba Homasi, it was a smashing success. This is a guy who's taken some time off, recalibrated, and there's one thing you can guarantee in an Andre Koreshkov fight. He's going to go in there to try to knock you out. If he can't, he's going to take you down and try to ground you into the canvas. Chase Rencounter is a tough opponent, a good last-minute solution here as a former UFC vet. But this fight is all about, can Andre Koreshkov reestablish himself as a legitimate title threat? This division is on fire with Amosov the champion, Michael Venom Page the #1 contender. We know the main event tonight could produce another title challenger. Well, how about Andre Koreshkov if he goes in there and takes care of business? Watch out.
He is favored more than 3-1 with that short change notice. Other fighters on the card, give me 3-0 for Bellator 274.
Look, this preliminary card starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can catch that on the Bellator and Showtime Sports YouTube channels. But how about Brennan Ward, the former Connecticut, always draws a big crowd. He hasn't fought since 2017, battling legitimate drug addiction and issues outside the cage. He's back in a catchweight bout at age 33, looking to show that he can still do it. It's an incredible turnaround and comeback story for the hometown kid. Let's not also forget about Aviv Ghazali out of Israel. He's unbeaten, and every time he steps into the Bellator cage, he seems to find a submission within the first, 10 seconds, 1 minute. He's an attractive attraction if you like a guy who can go in there and just end the fight out of nowhere. And finally, Tommy, I had to save the best for last. You ever hear of Mandel Nalo? If you haven't, you may have seen the viral knockouts he brings to the Bellator cage. But he's got this swagger to him, this attitude, and this nickname, Rat Garbage. Mandel Rat Garbage Nalo is must-see TV. Every day of the week in the lightweight division, he produces wild finishes. I'm going to go down in the streets, Tommy, if you know what I mean.
He may be called Rat Garbage, but that knee was golden, my friend. Before I let you go, we're looking ahead already to 277, April 15th, San Jose, California, McKee, Pitbull Part 2. It is part of not a co-main, but a double main, BC. This is going to be big, isn't it?
This is a big-time fight. Let's not forget, when these two fought for that featherweight title last year, rightfully so on paper, we said this is the biggest, the best fight in Bellator history. So what happened? AJ McKee came out in the first minute and submitted the great Pitbull to really go full bloom, the caterpillar becoming the butterfly and showing you he might be the next big thing in this entire sport. He calls himself the Floyd Mayweather of MMA. But Patricio Pitbull's too great, Tommy, to go out like that. We get a second chance at this for Pitbull for this fight, maybe to answer a lot of those questions style-wise that didn't get answered because of McKee's incredible performance. It's helping. It's still, though, the biggest fight in Bellator history. I got to be there front row. Get your popcorn ready, Tommy Tran. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. At the time, Pitbull had 2 belts, and now he has none after giving it up, of course, in the other division, trying to get it back on the 15th out in the Bay Area. BC, certainly appreciate it, my man. Enjoy the weekend, doing always great work for Showtime and Showtime Boxing, and, of course, Morning Combat. This is a look at the card. I want to remind you, our very own Amanda Guerra will be hosting with Josh Thompson, Big John McCarthy from Mohegan Sun Arena. They are back during COVID. That was the place to be for Scott Coker to hold all of his fights. And then again, with things lifted just a bit, going to Europe, Arizona, and back, of course, to the West Coast. BC and Luke Thomas, the guys from Morning Combat, BC's top 10 boxing fights for MMA fans to watch, breaking down his top 10 on the pod.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.